Hello there. A big thank you for joining us on PM Express here on the Joy News channel. I am Blessed Guy, and of course tonight we're focusing on the governing New Patriotic Party, which is just has some few days to leave office. The governing party, which is now leaving office, says it is carrying out what they describe as post-mortem, trying as much as possible to find out why the party lost significantly its seats in Parliament and also at the presidential level at the just ended December 7, 2024 polls. Why did the NPP lose, and what are the prospects of the party going into the 2028 elections? I'm speaking to one man who served as the chairperson of the party, Freddie Blay. He tells me why he believes in the NPP and the prospects of the party going into the future. We also talk about Ghana's democracy going forward into the future. Stay, be my guest. We'll be back. This is PM Express, and tonight we're having a special conversation with Freddie Blay, the former national chairperson of the New Patriotic Party. Mr. Blay, it's a pleasure to have you joining us on the Joy News channel.
Thank you.
The 2024 general elections is over, but your party says it's carrying out what is being described now as a post-mortem, obviously to look at the shortfalls and why perhaps the New Patriotic Party failed to make an impression on the people of Ghana to win the 2024 general elections. Your take, first of all, on the outcome of the election. Some say that, yes, the party, perhaps through your research, anticipated some level of defeat, but not in the emphatic manner as we're seeing it now. Did you also see that coming?
Well, in the first place, the party didn't anticipate a defeat. From our research, we're convinced that it will be difficult, yes, but we thought we'll have a narrow victory over the NDC, the major opposition party. Now, of course, the party elected to govern this country. For sure, we will set up some kind of committee to look into what happened, why it didn't turn out the best for us, but it turned out badly. And then we are going to look into it. We always do that. In our time, at any time that we had an election, we set up a committee to look at our shortfalls, our strong points, where we could have done better, what we could have improved. We did that in 2020 as well. So it's nothing new. Maybe this time around it's a bit urgent because of the extent to which we lost this election, both at presidential and parliamentary level. It's interesting to find out, Suga, that quite a number of people did not turn out to vote. We have a feeling that most of them will have come from our stock or our support base. And therefore, we want to go into it. What went wrong? Why the extent of the apathy, which went in our disfavor? It's appropriate that we do so.
And you're
going to do that after January.
That will make the party stronger for 2028. But
not just for the 2028.
But going into the future. Of course, I'll take your thoughts on...
It's been maybe older than you are.
Right. I'll take your thoughts on what will happen exactly and perhaps what your own diagnosis of the problem is. But, you know, back to the point you were raising earlier about what you had anticipated as a New Patriotic Party. Some of your stalwarts, Nana Akomia, for instance, had pointed to some research, internal research that was done or commissioned by the New Patriotic Party, yes, pointing to a possible defeat of the New Patriotic Party. The one from the presidency as well pointed to at least a runoff. So some say this was long coming for the NPP.
No, listen, I wasn't aware of any research that I pointed out. Earlier time,
right,
we realized that we were not in a very good position. That was about 6 or 7 months before the elections, and we had pointed out a few factors that were not in our best interest, and we were confident that we work on them before the elections. And any other research that was commissioned had come out to say that we were quite competitive But it wasn't easy. And we were not predicting a massive victory. It would be difficult, but we will succeed, or we will clinch victory, be it whatever it is. It turned out the other way, and it's unfortunate, but why not? We've taken a look at it, analyzing the factors and seeing what really went wrong. But readily, there are a few reasons why we think things were difficult. Indeed, at that time even, we had recognized that because of the 2019, 2020 COVID pandemic, and later on the war in Ukraine, which people thought that we should not even blame them for that, for our difficulties, economic difficulties, leading to high prices, high fuel prices, and lack of several other things. And many incumbent governments throughout the world was encountering difficulties. Some were losing elections. I could count on my finger. Many of them were having difficulty. The same difficulty we went through, although we were convinced we were doing such well that we could turn things around and we'll be okay. But the results, what you saw, it's happened. So as I said, we will make sure that we put ourselves together, get up our loins, and meet the future with confidence.
Right.
That's all.
As we speak now, the blame game has started. Some leading figures of the NPP are already doing their own post-mortem, even before the party commences its exercise.
People get themselves involved in all what went wrong and blame game. It happens with any
and the blame game group largely is going towards the leadership of the party.
I'm not too sure.
You've been a leader of the party before. Do you feel that it's fair now to put the blame squarely at the door?
Definitely,
executives of the party?
I'm not too sure the blame game has been pushed in the direction of the leadership of the party as it is. When you talk about leadership, of which one are you referring to? Regional leadership, constituency leadership, or national leadership? We have various phases of our leadership, and indeed, campaign team, or even the vice president who was our presidential candidate, a whole lot of people who may have their own narrow perspective, what went wrong, and will give their own interpretation to it. But as I said, we will meet, we will set up a committee will definitely examine what went wrong. This is a human science, and there are no certainty as to what it is. Not that this one didn't put this one in this place, and we've gone for an election, and for whatever reasons, people of this country have decided to say that no, they don't want you, irrespective of what we are doing. We are convinced we are doing well. I, sitting here with you this evening, can assure you that I was convinced we are doing well. I've still not come to terms with the vote that went on, but that's the reality. People have voted us out, and therefore we will only need to regroup and then prepare a new strategy and find out what we've got to do to please the Ghanaian electorate. We will do so. Give us a little more time.
Right. At least the candidate himself has spoken. He's pointed to two factors. First, the fact about, the communicators of the NPP not doing quite a good job in terms of ownership of the media space. Then Dr. Mahmoud Ubami again spoke about the failure of some 2 million voters who did not show up to vote for the New Patriotic Party. He's claiming that's your fan base, that's your support base, which basically did not show up for the party. Why do you feel that your base did not show up in these elections to support the NPP?
Well, I have not myself heard it, but I've been told, it's been reported that that's what he said. Is pointed to some of these factors, two of them being, as you pointed out, the media, the mainstream media not being too friendly, and that maybe it didn't work hard enough to get them friendly to us, and that might have been because the media went quite hard against us, but be it as it may, it has happened. And then, of course, it's mentioned about I did also confirm that from all indications, it's out of the 18 million Ghanaians that voted, only out of the 80 million people registered, only about 13 million voted. That's quite huge. About a third of them did not turn up, about 60%. It's not a very big figure, but for Ghanaian voters and for us, quite a number of them didn't come out to vote. And we were aware, our own supporters and members, many of them did indicate that they were not too keen on voting for one reason or the other. I can't pinpoint one particular reason why they said they were frustrated and did not vote. But maybe the difficulties that we're encountering in terms of management of the economy and things were not in the way that they liked, and in some cases affected them personally, and therefore they were not happy and could not therefore manage to bring themselves to come and cast their vote. The interpretation of it goes against us. NDC membership and supporters turned out in their numbers to vote. I'm not scientifically not proven, but that's what had happened. We will look at it again and see if there is anything else that we could have done. Or those who didn't turn out to vote, will also see things going on in this country and might themselves now have realized that was a mistake not have turning out to vote. Maybe we'll meet today, 28,
yes,
with a little more confidence and maybe a bit more success.
Confidence, you say, but looking at the pre-election survey and what it says about the level of campaigning you did, the domestic election observers are pointing out that you did some 80+ percentage points more in terms of canvassing your votes on the topical issue of education. But you come to, for instance, the economy, and the NPP was doing way around 60% when the NDC was going really hard on the economy. Do you feel that the NPP failed to answer the question as to the average Ghanaian and their expectations on the promises you made back in 2016 on reviving or perhaps fixing the Ghanaian economy and the realities we're facing at the time?
That's an interesting question that you have. It's loaded a bit, but it's interesting. One, as you talk to me at the moment, I can assure you that from my perspective, I don't think we're doing badly with the economy.
Really?
At the time that is the third quarter, or the fourth quarter of this, I wouldn't say the third quarter, the economy was at GDP was 7.2%. Some even think that the figures have been massaged. I don't know massaged by whom, by those who are scientifically doing it and collecting figures and coming up. 7.2. It went down in 2020 at the COVID time to 1.0. And now it's 7.2. We've not found any major mineral or nothing magnificent and anything exciting that happened to the economy. This out of management. Management that went down, economy that went down at 0.1 or 1.0, it's now come up to 7.2. It's unbelievable. Some people don't even believe it. But that's why I'm saying that from the beginning. It was COVID. And then the war in Ukraine. Some say that we are only talking about it affected the whole world. Yes, most or many governments, greater percentage of governments around the globe were having problems. That is incumbent government. Many of them were thrown out. Go to even India. The LPG, I don't know the real name of the government of the day, but it had to share power with other parties. Unlike previous days, it's because of the economy that they were even going through. UK, the government was booted out. In America, US, Biden's government lost. Germany, it's happened. South Africa, it's happened. Even Kenya, this is what happened. Many countries around the globe, and in Africa particularly even, government, because of the problems of what's happened, voters sometimes will not understand. and they will therefore punish you for the problems that the country was encountering. I believe one of the reasons why we've had a problem in this country was because of COVID that we went at. I've explained, from 1.0 to 7% now. The economy went down.
But you said we're looking at only one aspect of the economy.
Wait.
Because...
you haven't given me the time to
yes,
talk now.
Precisely, right.
You asked a question, so I'm going to react to that. And I'm saying that is the GDP. Now, we as a government, I'm talking about what I say we, that's NPP government and Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, talk about it, did not give up our social programs. Free secondary school, we didn't give it up. We're still holding on to it and paying and doing it and building infrastructure. Roads in this country were being done at a pace that we even argue it's unprecedented in the history, not under Fourth Republic, in the history of this country. Another contact and the COVID influence was doing it. We did say even promise that we will never go to the IMF before then. We had to go because we had a problem. But even after that, you could see they themselves said the economy is picking up. I'm saying the problems we went through, do so, no more do so. A lot of things that this country, we were deprived of, queuing for petrol and all, nothing of this sort happened. So it's only the difficulty that we face. When fertilizers were not coming from Ukraine, when iron was not coming from Ukraine, many things, irrespective of that, when I talk about the GDP, I'm talking in terms of even the sectors. Services sector is growing, industrial sector is growing. What is it? The health sector, it's stable. Many other things. In the health sector, some of the things that we did was, in terms of good governance, Nanado was standing out. But as I said, a government can be punished by the electorate when things go a little bad. And that's what happened. We faced difficulties. Prices were rising. The city was having a problem. Yeah. And therefore, this Nanado Danko's government was punished.
And of course, I was just about to point you to the CD because going back to what your candidate says, if your fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. This is candidate Akufo-Addo in 2016 speaking about how the dollar was rising at the rate of 3 or 4. We're doing 15 at the time of the polls. Your government didn't fare well in terms of managing the economy.
So I've told you, unless what I'm saying, you made up your mind about
it's about what,
and therefore
what matters to the voters, isn't it? That's why I'm asking you the question.
We are going through your questions. Right. Like I'm saying that, yes, I mentioned myself. Right. You didn't ask me. Right. I did say that the dollar was dancing badly. Yeah. I did say so. Yeah. I admit it. And I said that I will agree that what is being used against Bawumia on and on and on, that say one of fundamentals, that is for the dollar. As it says. I did say that because we were having problems in terms of petrol prices moving, arising from COVID, first before the, not of COVID, but the war in Ukraine, and therefore prices of petroleum products moving to the sky and go. We had problems. Our import duties appear we were under serious circumstances. And because of the economic problem that we've gone through, the investor community became a bit jittery. And for that matter, I pushed it a dollar. But it's recovering. As I talk to you, it went maybe at as high as, the dollar went as high as 16. And it's come down now to 14 as we talk. Right. Maybe before that one hands over on the 7th of January, it will have been 13. The dollar is moving down. But these are some of the problems we encounter. If it had happened and any other government, it would have been difficult. Be it as it may, people of this country have voted on our performance, on economic policies, and whatever we have said we have achieved or we couldn't achieve. I think all that we should do is that we should we should accept it and expect the incoming government to do well.
We'll speak about the incoming government shortly and what they're planning to do. But how do you
all of us.
How do you respond to the concerns that this election was just not, you know, the decision of Ghanaians choosing between John Mahama and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but also this was a case of a verdict on the level of governance and the type of governance we've experienced under President Akufo-Addo.
So,
do you feel that the anger of people were expressed at the ballots just to show how much they disapprove of President Akufo-Addo?
You are making me repeat all the things that I have been saying, and I'll go on if that's what will please you. But I said that don't talk about governance. Governance, we had no problem with governance.
Not at all?
At all.
Afrobarometer points out that, of course, over 50% of Ghanaians felt that the country wasn't going in the right direction going into the election.
When you talk about governance, I don't know.
That's a scientific poll pointing out what Ghanaians
wait. Maybe it's propaganda and everything.
Really? Afrobarometer being a propaganda? That's a scientific document you worked with in 2016.
Let me wait. So far as I'm concerned, one, when you talk about governance, what exactly do you mean? What are the pointers of good governance? The judiciary, democratic institutions, police service, the army, SHRAG, NEC, all other institutions. Irrespective of the experiences, economic hardships that we had gone through, increase all these institutions, their budget.
I don't think that's entirely right, sir. You take a look at the Ghana Integrity Initiatives.
Let me finish.
We've not gone far.
No.
I'm in the media, for instance. You take a look at the ranking of press freedom.
I'm glad that
we're not going as high as you're pointing out. Yes.
Wait.
Right.
I'm glad that Dr. Bawumia did point out that we have not done well with the media, the mainstream media, because you are telling me here that in terms of governance and whatever I'm trying to say, that Afrobarometer was saying the integrity, something I don't know what you are talking about.
No, but these are documents that I'm speaking to, actually.
I am also talking of documents. Prove me wrong.
Yeah. I've pointed you to three of them, at least. Afrobarometer, I've pointed you to the press, freedom of the press. I've pointed you to a number of documents.
In terms of freedom of the press, you are in the media, I'm in the media.
We are all in the media, sir.
Absolutely. And I'm saying, what wrong did Nana Addo do with the media?
But it's about the report. The report says there's crackdown. The president is not allowing dissent as much. That's what the latest Afrobarometer, the reporters without
what I'm saying
is
forget about what Afrobarometer or whatever you are talking about.
Right.
You are in the media. I'm sitting here in your studio.
Right.
I'm saying that point out from your own experience one thing that Nana Akufo-Addo did against the media that you are aware of.
It's the reports and what the report is saying to us, for instance. There are outstanding issues. For instance, the president had executive power to investigate, for instance. And I'm giving you an instance. The president
are you giving me an instance?
Yes, I'm giving you an instance.
Yes,
the president had executive power to investigate the Ahmed Suale case, for instance. And for so many years, the president has been in office. We haven't solved that case, for instance. The Ghana Journalists Association has pointed to that. These are examples pointing to what the report says, because we've all read the report and what it says about media freedom.
You know what? As I said, it reinforces my belief that Vice President Dr. Bawumia was right in his assessment of the media. Where I'm sitting here, I'm not a visitor to Ghana. You talk Ahmed Suale's case. You know what? As a lawyer, I'm aware there are about 101 cases of murder, of unsolved problems that the police have faced. When there is somebody dead, when individuals have murdered or assassinated an individual and it has not been solved, you blame the government for it. America, there are several murders that have not been solved. UK, everywhere in the world, several murders. And indeed, under NDC government of the past, I was assaulted as chairman, vice chairman of my party when there was a by-election in Upper East. We reported the matter and that the government did. It was not solved. We catalogued a lot of them. We met the police, made some of such complaints. They were not solved as yet. I never lost faith in the Constitution, nor even the president of the day then. I'm saying that one instance of a murder not having been solved, it remains a mystery, which is not, the case is not totally dead, that you say because you have not solved that one. Sure, you sit here and tell me that because I'm a Swale matter, the pressman was murdered, we don't know who did, maybe a family member, maybe a friend, maybe a criminal, or whatever it is, then you make it look like as if it was a suppression.
Well, I'm just pointing to some examples.
And I'm telling you that that's an example you've come out with.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, excuse me, I don't want to use harsh words, but this is a very bad example. But let's go on.
Right.
I'm talking about freedom of the press.
I was just speaking
the two
on some of the examples,
went.
yes.
We talked about the two of us are in the media. I'm saying there was no suppression of freedom of expression. People were insulting Akufo-Addo. People were doing a whole lot of things against his government. Nobody was arrested for the expression of opinion. This is the government that came immediately. It came the was it criminal law, criminal libel law.
Right to information as well. That's what you.
Not only right of information, criminal libel. But maybe at that time you were not. That's and
when he was Attorney General.
Definitely. Quickly championed it and removed it. Of course, Freedom of Information Bill also was quickly passed by this government. Quite a number of other human rights bills that will expand the frontiers of democracy and freedom were passed. Nobody in this country, and give me one example, was punished for expressing different opinions.
Okay, I was just referring
to. And if a barometer or somebody comes on and says the press was suppressed, I'm surprised at you. You don't take that to us hook and sink and make it look like as if that is an article of faith.
Okay.
That is, it's wrong.
We're still in post-election, and even as we speak, the exercise is not exhausted. There are 9 outstanding constituencies where the Electoral Commission, for instance, is doing what they describe as recollation. The NDC is stemming that as illegality. You are a lawyer as well. You've been looking at, post-2024 and some of these emerging issues. What's your take on what's happening now? The fact that there's one party which believes there's no recollation provision for it in the CI 127, and that what the EC is doing is illegal. The EC says what we're doing, is in coherence with the law. What's your take, as a legal person on this matter?
Honestly, though, I have not even better my mind to what is going to happen in the law, and I believe that the EC has a right to say that there had been an election and the calculation had not completed. Indeed, in my time, I had a problem like that. At first, they came out to say this man had won in my constituency, and it was later on found out that people were trying to stuff the ballot boxes, and for that matter, they changed their own figures after we pointed it out to them. And then they really later, the other party then and DC went to court. It was still hanging, but they abandoned it. To me, if the EC, in all sincerity, realizes that there had been instances where people have made a mistake, genuine mistake, and before it has been publicly gazetted, announced or gazetted, then they want to correct it. I think it's in the interest of democracy. It is in the best interest of our elections and peace in this country that they should correct it. If they correct it, they could even make a mistake. Maybe they correct it and one party or anybody feels that there had been another mistake somehow, and they seek to go to court for it to be either validated or changed or whatever it is. Why not? Let them do it.
It's generating a lot of tension. The NDC says they would have the last laugh on the day of swearing in of MPs. Some of the embattled MPs themselves say they would walk to Parliament and take their seats regardless of what the EC is doing in terms of recollation. How do we affect all of these tensions that's on the rise?
I would be surprised that anybody that at the end of the day, when people have gone to court and the EC has been ordered to do it this way, and they say that for us, you will do different from what the law has said or what the judges have done. I want to see what happens. We are in this country. Let this happen.
Do you feel
I don't think justice can be denied, even if it means the sky falling on our heads. No. If justice is done, why not? Can you imagine the chaos this country will run into? That people want to say that the GC has at one time declared this, or a GC representative at a gunpoint, it's been made to declare one person successful or victorious, and then they change their mind, even under the instruction of the court, and they decide to do it differently. Somebody will say no. They're left to see. I say, can you imagine how this country will be turned chaotic? Right. Let me give you a typical example. Since you love examples, and you love believing in integrity, and then all other barometer examples that you give. If you have an election at the date of collation of the result, when people have voted and we all have sat down there, signed the print sheets here and there, and a recollation of about 60 ballot boxes, we count the first 2 have won, and then somebody comes out with a gun. I don't know where it comes from, here and there. Declare the one who has won. My man has won. Immediately you declare, and you say, once I've declared, I can't go back. So you have won. If anybody wants anything, the person should go to court. Could you imagine the chaos? You, sitting here. Let's respect law.
Right.
Due process. Let's have respect for each other. Right. If you believe in democracy, I'm surprised that NDC has won 187 and still chasing after 2, 3 seats. At first, we were valuing that one seat higher, the other seat, and hang parliament. Right. We love it. Now, NDC says that they want a super majority.
Absolute majority.
They want absolute. In fact, if they had a way, they may say that they want all the seats. I don't know what will happen, but maybe you'll be happy.
I don't belong to the NDC. I'm speaking to Chairman Freddie Blay, who is the former national chairperson of the NPP. You're watching PM Express. When we return, we'll talk to him about the future of Ghana's democracy. Please stay. And thanks for staying with us here on PM Express on the Joy News channel. I'm Blessed Ogan. Of course, we're speaking to Freddie Blay, the former national chairperson of the New Patriotic Party. And he's been sharing some insightful thoughts on Ghana's democracy, of course, leaving off on what's happening in terms of the re-collation exercise and what the NDC has been saying. But you say that all of these activities could pose a threat to our democracy if not handled properly, because we need to respect the rule of law. How do you feel that, we could work in averting, possible clashes in Parliament on the eve of changeover? Because we've seen something similar when there was a hung Parliament. Now we don't know what to expect. But what's your suggestion in terms of handling these outstanding areas? There's Domekwabenya, which the EC is yet to decide on, and then Ablekuma North, I believe. These are 2 areas. How do we solve that problem?
I don't think there is any serious looming threat to what is going to happen in Parliament, because 1 or 2 seats that need to be recollected and then declared as to who will be the winner. I don't think that constitutes any threat to what is going to happen on the 7th of or the 6th or 7th of January, when the Parliament resumes, or when Parliament convenes. Right. It's at the time that will, for the first time, the opening session of Parliament. No. In any case, indeed, NDC can conveniently do without 10 parliamentarians, because they still have almost absolute majority. So, on what basis can they be, unless they want to say that the other seats that are remaining, if those who have been declared winners, according to the court and the declaration of NEC, they still will not agree, and they will organize people to come there and beat up the people and put them. We will have to see. I don't think President Mahama, if at that time he's in power, he's been resumed, he's been inaugurated or sworn in as the president, will allow that to happen. He will sacrifice his position for a couple of parliamentarians. He's expressed opinion on that. I know. I wish it's unfortunate. To me, I wish he shouldn't have even made any comment.
But he's talking about consistency on the part of the EC. That's his concern. They wrote to the EC. The EC says, once it's declared, go to court.
Is he the one to talk about it now, at this time that is going to be the president of this country? You should leave it for others to talk about it. You should act like a president of a country And there are certain comments that it's better you don't fight, you don't rush into it. Me, that's my opinion. I wish you had not done that.
Chairman Blay, do you feel that the Electoral Commission should be taking some of the blame now? The fact that...
What kind of blame? What have they
done?
done?
This is happening because they could have averted it, avoid recollation, ask all the embattled persons to go to court and to resolve their concerns instead of handling...
So when you ask questions that, to me, the answer should be obvious to you.
It's not obvious, is it? Right.
Listen to me.
Right.
What happened? You love examples. I'll give you a few examples of what happened. I was following what happened in, let's say, the one that is even a little narrow, or very narrow.
Right.
Sauma Drajiri. Elections have taken place. People have collected their pink sheets. It was left for collation. And the collation was supposed to go on. That it's where it is because it's a bit tough as to when the numbers are 10, 20, 100, 200. That comes along with tension. And it's agreeable that in the collation room, when there is security, there shouldn't be tension. We should stay outside and allow the work to be done very peacefully by the Electoral Commission's officers. Unfortunately, some people invaded their place. I'm telling you what I've been told by some very good friends who were themselves there.
Present, right.
And then therefore the police said they couldn't keep peace. They couldn't even protect security. They couldn't ensure that there is security around that area. So they called for a call-off of the meeting because the tension was right and the officers were extremely sensitive to their own safety. And then they didn't want to risk their life, which I agree with. Once there are people have collected the various, what I would refer to as pink sheets from the police stations. Indeed, you can deal without even the collation center because you will go back to if there's any problem, you come back to EC's office in Accra or Koforidua or whatever it is. So do the collation. That's why I'm saying it is difficult for anybody, as it were, to mess up with the EC's arrangement. It was the best for us. It's only at the collation that people can come with guns. Sometimes machine gun to come and say, declare this one as a winner. It's never happened. So I have stood for election. I have been in parliament for 12 years. I know some of this is raised attention. But when people can go to the collation office with a gun and tell them, declare this one.
You have a specific case where that happened?
I was not there. I won't say that.
Right.
Take it from me. But a place like Tama, is this Sama Central?
In the case of Baby Bright,
yes,
that you're talking about. Right.
You were
told it happened.
I was told that it's happened.
But you were not present.
Policemen had issued
a
statement to the EC. They've read it.
Right.
EC told that this is what the officers had come out to say. The EC reported it, unless you don't believe.
They say duress. That's all I've heard.
No, don't take up duress.
But I've not.
I have a bit more graphic.
Okay.
So you want me to, you want it to polish?
No,
that's what you want it done. But I'm saying that
about duress. That's the word we had.
In one instance, the people describe it as that the police officer had warned that, look, go and sign it. They've told the EC, the Electoral Commission officer there, go and sign it. If you don't go and sign it and declare this man winner, your life is in danger and we can protect you.
I see.
Maybe it's not true. We stand to prove it, right or wrong. But in some places like in Savannah and Co., it was a serious issue. The parliamentarian or the candidate and his family had to be evacuated. People were ready to kill. If you are not careful, you shouldn't get to that stage. At a time when even a presidential candidate also had come out to say, you have won, except one or two places where seats that are at stake. Right. Let them go through that. But you have won. And yet, people were ready to, if there had been a dispute over it, and it had been a little close, you know what would have happened to this country? You may not be sitting here asking me questions.
I see.
I won't even come here.
Right.
So we need peace in this country. It is our responsibility to ensure that peace prevails. Politicians like me may come and go. We may strive to serve you, ostensibly to serve you.
Right.
Maybe we don't have good intentions. Maybe our tests are not. Maybe we can't do it. We will hold on to it, and then at the end of the day, you vote us out. But don't risk peace in this country.
There's a petition going around already asking for this commission to be dissolved. Or perhaps,
what commission?
The chairperson of the Electoral Commission.
Let it go on. You are asking questions that you are asking me. Very little to do with
Do you feel that, given what we've seen, characterizing this year's elections, it should be a basis for her to resign, or must Jean Mensah go? Because that's a movement we've seen also going around with people signing petitions for.
Let them sign petition. I'm not aware.
Would you sign if they've presented?
Why should I sign such a petition? I'm saying that. Listen, I don't even know who, for what reason.
Right.
But I suspect, if I'm wrong, correct me. Many NDC boys or sympathizers are signing such petition. They want ECR. It is their piece of meal. It has nothing to do with me, and I don't see.
Will it be helpful to our democracy, actually?
Definitely will not be helpful, but not all the things that we do may be helpful to democracy. So if they are, at one instance, about one who have presided over it, under your own vigilance, under your own strong watch, you've won this overwhelming election, and yet you say that the EC has not done well, he has not done what you want to do. I don't know exactly what the NDC may want. So we live to see. If they come up with a petition, or whatever reason, we will live with it. But be careful. I've lived in this country a little longer than you do. I've gone through the so-called revolution, where you be in your house, they'll drag you out and go and kill you. It has happened before. If you don't put the brakes, it may not be you. It may not even be me. It may be somebody closer related to you.
I see.
So be careful in this country.
Right.
Don't let, you see, freedom must have brakes. No, do you understand me?
Perfectly.
And license must also be controlled. Don't make it look like we've gone for an election which somebody, one party is won so convincingly that we've given up. The parties now comes and says it's not satisfied that except we remove the Electoral Commission. In addition, I wish them well. Let them try.
And perhaps that's the problem we have with democracy, isn't it? Now we have almost an absolute majority for the National Democratic Congress. That will happen in Parliament. The fear is that that could even breed that concept of winner takes all the more. Two-thirds majority, they could, some legal perspectives are that they could make changes, significant changes to the Constitution.
If it is two-thirds.
Yes.
If it is they can't make many changes. You see?
Okay, right.
It cut both ways. Whatever it is, it's a beautiful country. And sometimes what you don't intend, you may reap. You think it's meant for others, you will end up reaping it yourself. Quite a number of clauses in the Constitution, I've looked at it.
Yeah.
So, they have entrenched
provisions. Yeah.
Provisions. Some of them. Some of us were even thinking that they were not necessary. At some point, I remember me and some other party members, and then we were not even in government at that time. We thought we would challenge them in court. For example, the indemnity clauses, as it were, that seem to indemnify those who have undertaken atrocities, even gone to murder people in the night, or have gone to beat people and maim them, or did very serious, or committed very serious crimes, indemnify, who had aligned themselves to the PNDC at that time, indemnify themselves, and even earlier coup makers. We thought that was it undermines democracy.
Right.
And it should not be entertained. We're ready to fight for it. But they added that to some other clauses, made them give
them immunity, basically.
Give them immunity, and not only that, but made them entrenched. And among them, some of the provisions that you may be thinking of, I don't know which one you may be thinking of, are even entrenched. And when you talk about entrenched clauses, you don't know how to, unless you go and have a referendum. And the referendum, even the numbers are 2/3 or so, or more than that, before you can have them change.
So it will be difficult for the NDC to secure some...
I don't know whether it is the intention to do that.
Right.
If they want to make any changes to the... some say don't tinker with the Constitution. But if they decide to do that, we will live to see. People will vote for it if they want to vote it in Parliament only. And when they had 2/3, they could do so. And let's see what happened. Unfortunately, they don't have the 2/3. But at the end of the day,
let's see what the outcome.
I wish we could dodge them that and let them do what they think they want to do, change the Constitution, and let Ghanaians do. You know, some governments sometimes push their luck too far. It's happened sometimes in a place like Senegal. It happens in Kenya. It may happen in Uganda and so forth. In fact, what happened to this Mugabe and co? Some of this, they drive your luck too far. We live to see. If you think that you want to change the Constitution for whatever reason, I don't want to speculate on that. Let's see. Ghanaians may vote for it, and maybe you will like it. So,
well, I'm a firm believer in democracy. So,
are you sure?
I want us to wrap up by talking about the incoming president, the president-elect, John Dramani Mahama.
Yes.
Nostalgia, isn't it? Of course, you recall working with this gentleman, I believe, on the appointments committee. There's this famous video going around at the time you were vetting President Akufo-Addo.
That's right. I was with him.
Yes, you were with the President-elect John Mahama on that committee. Yeah.
At that time, he was my very good friend.
And now he's not?
Well, I consider myself still his friend. But maybe we all belong to different parties.
You're still friends,
we used to have good time in my office. We used to come and then we sit down and converse. We had quite intimate time. I would say very nice. And then when he was a minister, sometimes his office would be strewn with hampers, plenty hampers. Issues that you give me a couple of the hampers.
Oh, he used to share some hampers with you.
A few, when he had plenty of them.
Yeah.
And then when he was out of power, they dried up.
Yeah.
And so, but we've been friends. If you come to my office now, you'll see pictures of me and him at one time. It's quite a number of pictures. People even question it. They say, why do you? I say, but we've been friends before. And I believe I'm still his friend. Now that he may not consider me.
Are you sure he wouldn't?
But
you feel he's still the same man that you used to know? Yes.
I hope so, but it doesn't matter. This is a beautiful country, which we have. Fortunately, we all worked in Parliament, and we knew each other. In fact, Anna Adodankwa was also parliamentary, worked, so they were good friends. They shared jokes, traveled together some places, and that's what happened. So I think we should encourage that, so that irrespective of opinions and parties that we belong to, we still can have room to converse. We still can have room to negotiate. We still can have just to sometimes share ideas and meet each other halfway. It's a question of give and take.
I was just about
compromise.
Taking your thoughts on his promise. He says he's into reset Ghana. In fact, he has a 120-day social pact with the people. But what do you feel about this reset agenda?
Well, honestly, I have not read in detail so what they mean by reset. My main little concern would have been that when they talk of reset, they want to talk as if they were acting like it's been a coup. And therefore, they are changing everything. They are pushing back some buttons that will make we start all over again. No, it's continuity. This country will remain what it is, and therefore, the drivers may change and the shape of the vehicle somehow. But there wouldn't be a question of complete overhaul of the system of government, of the constitution, as you have mentioned, which if the people intend to do that. If you want to make it a dictatorship, I don't think it will happen. Even members of the same government will kick against it. We have come a long way. We still have more time. It's a very sophisticated society.
Right.
I'm convinced about that. So no one party, not an individual, can break this country its will.
Right.
Kwame Nkrumah did not succeed. Many others who followed couldn't do that. I don't believe that under John or under Nanado, it happened. And under John again, this things will happen. This country, he will try, he will make his effort, he will make contribution, and I wish him well that under him, we will prosper, GDP will move up, CD will go down, there will be fuel flowing, and there will be prosperity across board.
And this should be the last one. A central point to that 120-day compact he has with the people in terms of the reset agenda. A central point has got to do with what's now being called ORA, an accountability measure to recover all loot. And I'll be a bit provocative tonight by referring you to what the chairperson of the preparatory team of the oral has said on social media, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. He's spoken about, of course, some interest that your son has and points out to some lands which he claims would be...
lands. Not land, it's land.
Land, okay, right.
That's what he's talking about. He's talking about...
Labadi Beach.
I wish
yes,
you had done, but since
he
you
says,
brought
quote, we shall recover all. That's how he ends his statement. So we shall recover the loot. So, that's how he describes it. What's your take on that?
Soga, it's a pity.
Right.
I'm saying that, and that I want your listeners also to be, and those who are watching,
right,
say, why? We have a country where people go to politics and are asked to do service to the country. If you go to do service for this country, you use your position to loot, to steal, to be corrupt, and benefit from it in whatever manner. I think it should be brought to justice. This is something that we should not compromise over. People who take advantage of their position, whatever it is, whether it's under John Mahama, under Kufuor, under anybody, whatever it is in the past, or present, or in the future, should be dealt with.
Right.
And take it as part of your history of this tonight's interview.
Right.
But at the same time, don't make it a vendetta. Don't make it witch-hunted. I've read a letter today. I was listening before I came to this, a letter that on Asempa, Obi was reading, written by one Tete, a pastor called, is it Tete or Faye? That's right. It's mentioned in that, don't persecute, prosecute. Be fair, objective in whatever you want to do. Don't undertake don't consider it a competition to deal with your enemies. Try to let this country...
Is oral more or less looking like persecution to you?
To me, I don't really care.
Right.
You understand me? Because, like you will agree, I'm not just an individual person here. I'm also a lawyer. I also have access to media. So if you come after me, I will be in a position, I will defend myself to the hilt. If you are being unfair to me, I have the opportunity to do that. And I assure you, I will stand on my grounds when I'm justified. I've had an interview before that said, I've gone 15 rounds before with Jerry Rollins. I survived it. I'm growing old, maybe, but I will not think I'll go down in 6 rounds. What you mentioned, it's a pity that people do that. I'm saying, Okudzeto Ablakwa, who unfortunately or fortunately is the chairman of the loot or what. I was just told this afternoon that they have only a little time till 7th and they will pack up. I thought they were going to stay a little more so that they will have no excuse to say, oh, we didn't have time to do what we gave them. They want John Dramani, I'll plead with him to give the loot, the so-called...
Oh, you want the oral team to be extended, their timeline to be extended?
Because it is too short for them to do what they said. What they said want to recover about 12 billion. That's what they estimate. I hold you to it. I hold myself, I hold you all listeners to that. What is the 12 billion? What is it coming? What is it? If indeed there are people in this country who are looted that, I think John Dramani has done very well by putting this together, this committee, I call it committee or a commission, which should give it more time, because we have less than 2 weeks before maybe we reassemble again, and then he takes over properly. But there is shrug, there is this, there is that. You may not have faith in them. And you put up this aura. And aura even chooses now to, you do mention that he's mentioned, tweeted, and mentioned me, Blaze, that maybe they will recover from them the loot. I say, take it from me, Soga. My family has not taken a paswa from Ghana government unlawfully. We've not taken any government land unlawfully. We have not done anything that you can blame me for it. If Okujetu now is convinced me, I've done that, then I'm a little careful about what Awara wants to do.
Will you take him on legally?
We are in court already.
Yeah.
I've sued him for defamation. My 2 children have sued him also for defamation because we have not taken any government land. And yet, he gives the impression, he organizes people with placards, everything else, and make them look like as if me and my 2 sons have stolen government. It's called up to be state capture. It's involved in that. That I will resist. That I want to tell you that he is shooting after shadows because we have not done that.
Are you willing to appear before this oral committee?
I've been asked a couple of minutes ago.
Right.
I'm saying if it is a proper organization and it has based on law, and they even invite me that they have had something they want me to appear, Okuzetu, I will meet him. Unfortunately, he will be the chair. If I'm not careful, I might be a little bit, I will lose my temper with him because what he's been saying, the disgrace, the defamation, the libelous things he's been talking and writing, it may provoke me to, I wouldn't know what my reaction will be. But be it as it may, the other members are fair-minded, I know. Many of them, some of them are even my friends. So I will take my time and be answerable to what he has been championing. He particularly, Okujetu, has been championing. I've taken him on, I've sued him in court for defamation, for libeling me. My 2 children have also done the same thing. We have nothing to hide. It's not what maybe Aura want. Okujetu himself wants something else. I don't know what he's saying at. He wants to make it look like at success at business. It's a crime. I have worked as a lawyer for 40 years. 40 years, he was not born. He has property other places that I can't afford. He has never worked in his life, except being a minister.
Well, he's been a member of parliament.
That's all.
Record. Okay, right.
He has not on his own done any work. I've been a member of parliament. I didn't acquire 12 years.
Okay. Right.
I've not acquired what he has acquired.
All right.
But if he says he's acquired it lawfully, and yet he tells my children who are working on their own, have nothing to do with government, have stolen or have acquired property that they are not entitled to, we live to see. Mark my words.
Okay. But, Chairman, whatever be the case, we're grateful that you've spent some time with us tonight on PM Express. And that's all we have for you on the show. My name is Blessed Sudan. Until then, I will see you again. Log on to myjoyonline.com. We have lots of our stories there for you. Thanks for watching.